Hello friends, once again I'm your honorary ma'am, and today we are going to learn the second part of your chapter number 2, the sound of music. In last chapter we have learned about Evelyn, a deaf percussionist, Evelyn Glennie, a deaf percussionist, who how she become a great percussionist, and how she, though she is deaf, she decides to be a percussionist. And Evelyn Glennie proves herself as a success mantra, and how she convert her inability into the ability. Today we are going to learn about the another music legend, Ustad Bismillah Khan, who was a renowned Shehnai player in India, and his journey to become a Ustad Bismillah Khan of a renowned Shehnai player. I hope you like this chapter too, and you will get inspiration from them, and you will also achieve some legendary kind of a thing, some good success in your life, and you can also select them as your role model. Introduction. Here, this is the image of Shehnai, the musical instrument. Okay, the lesson is about Ustad Bismillah Khan. He was a renowned Shehnai player in India. He is a legend because he did something which has historically significance. He played the Shehnai on the day India got independence, 15th August 1947, at the Red Fort, before the Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, gave his speech. He played Shehnai at our great day of independence at Red Fort before the speech of Jawaharlal Nehru, and that is why he is a legend, because he did something which is historically significant. Before that, Bismillah Khan played the Shehnai in order to signify something auspicious. Something auspicious for the whole country was about to happen. India was about to get freedom, and so on that occasion, Bismillah Khan played the Shehnai, and so he is a legend. Something auspicious, something very important to be done. India got his freedom, and that is why he played Shehnai, to show this achievement of India after so many efforts. We have lost so many people in this, and with the lots of efforts of so many people of India, finally on 15th August 1947 we got our freedom, and that is why the day is auspicious, and he played a Shehnai. Okay, let's start the text one. He says that Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of a musical instrument called pungi in the royal residence, for it had a shrill, unpleasant sound. Banned, prohibited. Shrill, very sharp. Unpleasant, something that you don't like or dislike kind of thing. This is the image of pungi. It is a kind of a musical one, or you can say that bean in Hindi, for catching the snacks. Snack catcher is using this bean, pungi. So he says that Emperor Aurangzeb banned this playing of pungi in royal residence, for it has a shrill, means a kind of a very sharp sound, and unpleasant sound. So he banned that. No one will play pungi in this kind of royal residence. So he says that pungi was a musical instrument. The precedents of the Shehnai, when the Mughals ruled India, before the Britishers came, there was a very famous Mughal ruler named Aurangzeb, and he did not allow the pungi be played in his royal residence because he felt that it had a shrill and unpleasant sound. Pungi became the generic name for added noisemakers. Okay, so he says that generic name means a name given to a class or a group as a whole. Generic name means the significant name or a broad classification of something. Reeded. Here reeded is the wind instruments which have reeds like the flute, the clarinet, etc. Okay, so it's a reeded means some kind, it's a wind where you have a space of getting wind, and with the use of this wind kind of wind instruments are that like a flute. Here in this Morpunk with this peacock image, you will find this flute means basuri, and this is the black one is the instrument, that's clarinet. Okay, so any musical instrument which is made with reeds, like we have flutes and clarinets, they all are classified as a pungi, because pungi is the basic one, and these are the classified versions of this kind of a reeds kind of a thing. They all are classified as a pungi. So pungi is a broad term for any type of instrument which uses wind to produce sound. Means pungi is like a thing, any kind of instrument which need wind to produce sound, at that you can call them as a broad term. You can use pungi as in a broad term. Few had thought that it would one day be revived. Revived means brought back to life. As Aurangzeb has banned all these reeded noisemakers, he had banned pungi in his royal residence. So now no one thought that one day such a noisemaker, such an instrument which made unpleasant sound would be played, and their sound would be liked by the audience. Now it is banned. The royal emperor Aurangzeb banned this pungi. So now no one think that someone bring this kind of noisemaker, bring back and turn them into noise lovers, and then it is also liked by the audiences. Barber of a family of a professional musician who had access to the royal palace decides to improve the tonal quality of the pungi. Now, tonal quality means sound quality. As the pungi had an unpleasant sound, there was a barber who belonged to a family of professional musicians. He says that pungi had an unpleasant sound, and there was a barber who belonged to a family of professional musicians. Means he was by profession he was a barber, but belongs to a family of musicians, and he wanted to play the pungi. He also wanted to play the pungi, but he knew that the sound produced by pungi was unpleasant. But he knew that the sound was coming out of this pungi was unpleasant, and so he decided to improve the sound, and that is why he decided to improve the sound. He chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem that was longer and broader than the pungi, and made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. Now, hollow means empty from inside. Now this barber took a pipe which was a hollow stem. It was longer and broader than the pungi, and then he made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. What he did, he took a one pipe which has a hollow stem, means empty from inside. It was longer and broader than the pungi, and then he made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. Body of the pipe means if you have seen a flute, it is something like this. It is a pipe which is hollow from inside and has holes on it. Look, this is like a pungi and shehnai. Look at the difference. Okay, so he says that like this flute, when he played on it, closing and opening some of these holes, soft and melodious sounds were produced. What he says that then he blew air into the pipe and closed and opened different holes, and found that soft and melodious sounds were produced when he did like this. He started blew air into the pipe, and what he did closed and opened, some of the holes closed and some of the holes open, and then he find that there this pipe and this process of going to hole in this pipe through this 7 holes, and doing the act of closing and opening holes create a very beautiful, soft and melodious sound. He played instrument before royalty and everyone was impressed. Now, when the barber played this instrument in the royal court, everyone liked the sound produced by it. The instrument, so different from the pungi, had to be given a new name. The royal court thought that this instrument was different from this pungi, and so it should be have a different name also. It should be considered as a pungi because it has a different sound and look for from the pungi. So they decide to give a new name. As the story goes, since it was first played in the Shah's chambers and was played by a nai, means barber, the instrument was named the Shehnai. What is how they now? There is a story behind the name given to this instrument. That this instrument was played for the first time in the royal residence of the king, Shah. Royal residence king was called as Shah, and Shah was a name given to a king. So Mughal called the king as a Shah. Mughal are calling king as a Shah. As the nai means that is in the Indian term used for a barber. हम लोग नाई कहते हैं हिंदी में बार्बर को. So it was also played by a barber. So first time they called it Shehnai. So the first part is Sheh, which stands for Shah, and the second part of Nai, that is stand for barber. So this instrument was named as Shehnai. So now we come to know that first it is played in Shah's chamber and played by the barber, means Nai. So it is called Shehnai. The sound of the Shehnai began to be considered auspicious. Auspicious means promising to bring good fortunate. आप कहें ना शुभ, शुभ माना जाता है, इसीलिए ये शहनाई शुभ अवसरों पर बजाई जाती है, like शादी. Okay, so the sound of the Shehnai began to be considered as auspicious. Now the sound which was produced by Shehnai was considered to be a good omen, and so it was played on a good occasions. And for this reason it is still played in temples and is an indispensable component of any North Indian wedding. Indispensable means without which a piece of work cannot be done, something which is necessary. Now you can hear Shehnai being played at many temples and at weddings also. So it becomes a important part of North Indian wedding where they use this Shehnai at their wedding part. In the past, the Shehnai was part of the Naubat or traditional ensemble of 9 instrument sound of royal court. Ensemble means ensemble, things here instruments considered as a group. Now the Shehnai was a part of the Naubat. Naubat is an Urdu word and it means traditional ensemble, that means a traditional group of 9 musical instruments, that is called Naubat, and Shehnai was the part of Naubat, okay, which is found in a These 9 musical instruments were played at the royal court, and Shehnai was also a part of Naubat. Till recently, it was used only in temples and weddings. The credit for bringing this instrument onto the classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. What? He says that now the Shehnai was played at the king's court, but now it is in temples and it is limited to the temples and weddings only. It was used on stage in performances, and the credit for that goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan, who was legendary Shehnai player, and people wanted to hear him play the Shehnai. He was so talented in playing the Shehnai, and the credit goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan for bringing this Shehnai to the stage performance also, and to bring it to the royal king's court. As a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played Gilli Danda near a pond in the ancient estate of Damraun in Bihar. Okay? Damraun in Bihar. When Bismillah Khan was 5 years old, he lived in an old state named Damraun in past day Bihar. Damraun in present day in Bihar estate. He used to play Gilli Danda. As we all know that Gilli Danda is our ancient play. An old sport quite similar to cricket. It's like a cricket, but it is our ancient or old sports of India. He was playing this. He would regularly go to the nearby Bihariji temple to sing a Bhojpuri Chaita. So, Bhojpuri Chaita, at the end of which he would earn a big laddu weighing 1.25 kg, a prize given by the local Maharaj. Now, he says that laddu or ladu are spear-shaped sweets originated in Indian subsequent or laddu. Also, he would go to the nearby Bihariji temple. Although Bismillah Khan was a Muslim, he would go to the temple and he would sing the song Chaita in Bhojpuri language. Bhojpuri language is spoken in an area of Bihar. Bhojpuri belongs to Bihar. When he would finish reciting the song, he would get a big laddu as a reward, and the weight of that laddu was 1.25 kg. This was a prize given to Bismillah Khan by local Maharaj for singing the Chaita. Okay, so he was, as we can say that he got a reward as 1.25 kg laddu for reciting this Chaita, and that is why he regularly, though he was a Muslim, he was regularly visit this Bihariji temple and singing this Chaita. This happened 18 years ago, and a little boy has travelled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, the Bharat Ratna. The writer says that this incident occurred when Bismillah was 5 years old, that he would get this laddu as a reward. And after 8 years, Bismillah Khan earned the highest civilian award in India, the Bharat Ratna. So this is the distance that he has travelled in his life. At 5 years of age, he would get a 1.25 kg laddu as a reward, and at 80 years, he achieved the highest civilian award in India, that is the Bharat Ratna. He got a Bharat Ratna award for his performance, for his incredible, legendary performance with the playing Shehnai, and he got a award of Bharat Ratna. Born on 21 March 1916, Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. Now, Bismillah Khan was born on 21 March in 1960 in a family of musicians in Bihar. His grandfather, Rasul Baks Khan, was the Shehnai Nawaz, of the Bhojpur king's court. His father, Pagambar Bucks, and other paternal ancestors were also great Shehnai players. Paternal ancestor means an ancestor of the fathers. Now, the lineage of his father's side was full of great Shehnai players. We can say that Bismillah Khan ji acquired the skill of playing the Shehnai from his ancestor. It means it is in his blood, because his forefathers are doing the same business. His grandfather was a great Shehnai player too. He played Shehnai in the court of Bhojpur king. His father and all paternal ancestors were also great Shehnai players. So, this hunar or the skill of playing Shehnai is in his blood. The young boy took to music early in life. At the age of 3, when his mother took him to his maternal uncle's house in Banaras, now Varanasi, Bismillah was fascinated watching his uncles practice the Shehnai. Now, at a very early age, he was fascinated by watching his uncles practice Shehnai. At the age of 3, when Bismillah Khan ji was at just 3 years old, his mother took him to her parents' house, to his maternal uncles. Okay, mother's sides. They lived in Banaras. Banaras is today's Varanasi. And when Bismillah Khan saw his maternal uncle play the Shehnai, he was attracted towards it, and he also wanted to learn playing it. Soon Bismillah started accompanying his uncle Ali Baksh to the Vishnu temple of Banaras, where Baksh was employed to play the Shehnai. Now Bismillah Khan started going with his uncle Ali Baksh to the Vishnu temple. In Bhojpuri is also visited. In this, his maternal uncle, he visited Vishnu temple in Banaras. Ali Baksh was on a duty to play the Shehnai at the Vishnu temple of Banaras. He was also employed over there to play Shehnai at Vishnu temple. Ali Baksh would play the Shehnai, and Bismillah would sit captivated for hours on end. Captivated means attracted on end for a very long time without stopping or continuously. When Bismillah Khan saw his uncle Ali Baksh play the Shehnai, he would get attracted towards him, and it is that he would sit there for hours listening to him play the Shehnai. Slowly, he started getting lessons in playing the instrument and would sit practicing throughout the day. Here, gradually, Bismillah Khan also started learning playing the Shehnai, and he would practice throughout the day. He never got tired. He was so captivated by the Shehnai. For years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangalamaya and the banks of the Ganga become the young apprentice's favorite haunts, where he could practice in solitude. Now, apprentice means trainee, haunt means place you like come, where you like to visit many times a day. Solitude means being alone, single. For many years, Ustad Bismillah Khan remained in Banaras. He would visit the temple of Balaji, temple of Mangalamaya, and would remain on the bank of river Ganga, where he would practice playing the Shehnai all by himself. He get peace over it at the bank of Ganga river, and he practiced over there solitudely of playing Shehnai. The flowing waters of the Ganga inspired him to improvise and invent ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of the Shehnai. He were come to know about the talent of Ustad Bismillah Khan. He was so inspired and motivated by the river Ganga. It provoked him to improve his performances, and he also invented many rags that were considered impossible to be produced by Shehnai. Ustad Bismillah Khan worked hard and invented different sounds with the Shehnai. So he got mastery over it. Some rag won't be able to play on the Shehnai, but he achieved that impossible thing. He brings so many rags in the Shehnai, and he really did work hard. At the age of 14, Bismillah accompanied his uncle to the Allahabad Music Conference. When Bismillah Khan was 14 years of age, he accompanied his maternal uncle Ali Bakhsh to the Allahabad Music Conference. At the end of his recital, Ustad Fiyaz Khan patted the young boy's back and said, "Work hard and you shall make it." Recital means performance. Ustad Fayaz Khan, he was also a renowned classical vocalist. He was impressed by his performance and said that if he would work hard like that, he would make a name in the field of music. With the opening of All the Indian Radio in Lucknow in 1938 came Bismillah's big break. He soon became an often heard Shehnai player on radio. He says that when the All India Radio started its radio station at Lucknow, Ustad Bismillah Khan started performing from there. Often his Shehnai performance would be on air and everyone likes to hear him. When India gained independence on 15th August 1947, Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to greet the nation with his Shehnai. Ustad Bismillah Khan was the first Indian to greet the entire nation through his Shehnai. He played the Shehnai from the Red Fort on this memorable occasion. He poured his heart out into Rag Kafi from the Red Fort to an audience which included Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who later gave his famous Trust with Destiny speech. The rag that was played by Ustad Bismillah Khan on the occasion of independence of India was Rag Kafi. He played it from the Red Fort. After his performance, the first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, gave his famous speech, Trust with Destiny. Bismillah Khan was given many memorable performances both in India and abroad. His first trip abroad was to Afghanistan, where King Zahir Shah was so taken in by the maestro that he gifted him priceless Persian carpets and other souvenirs. Souvenir means things given in a memory of a place, person, or event taken in by means attracted or charmed by. Says that Bismillah Khan gave many performances in India and abroad too. Some of them are memorable, like the one at Afghanistan. The king of Afghanistan, King Zahir Shah, really liked Bismillah Khan's performance and he gifted him many things which were made in Afghanistan, like Persian carpet, so that Ustad Bismillah Khan would remember his first visit abroad, that was to Afghanistan. The king of Afghanistan was not only one to be fascinated with Bismillah's music. Film director Vijay Bhatt was so impressed after hearing Bismillah play at a festival that he named a film after the instrument called Gunj Uthi Shehnai. So there were many other people also who were attracted to his Shehnai's music. Like Gunj Uthi Shehnai was the name of a Hindi movie. It was made by Vijay Bhatt. He was a film director and he really liked the sound of the Shehnai played by Bismillah Khan, and that is why he named his movie as a Gunj Uthi Shehnai. The film was a hit, and one of Bismillah Khan's composition, Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya, this turned out to be a national-wide chartbuster. You can hear on YouTube also this song. Today's generation perhaps not like, but still if you hear once, then you will find the ability of Ustad Bismillah Khan's this Shehnai, this legendary music of there. There was a song in a movie Gunj Uthi Shehnai named Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya. It was composed by Ustad Bismillah Khan and became a chartbuster. It broke all the records. Despite this huge success in the Kalyot world, Bismillah Khan's venture in film music were limited to two: Vijay Bhatt's Gunjuti Shainai and Vikram Srinivasan's Kannada venture Sandhi Appanna. Okay, venture means project that often involves risk, sometimes which has a lot of risk. Although this song was a chartbuster, Bismillah Khan got a lot of success in this film, but he composed music for only two films: Gunjuti Shehnai, made by Vijay Bhatt, and Kannada movie made by Vikram Srinivasan called Sandhi Apna. I just come to terms with the artificiality and glamour of the film world, he says with emphasis. I just can't come. Emphasis means put a stress on something. And Ustad Bismillah Khan would say that he did not like this artificial world of films and the glamour that was there in the film world. And that was why he did not compose music for many movies. Though he got a chance, but he denied for that because he won't be able to handle that glamour and artificiality of this Bollywood world. Awards and recognition came thick and fast. Thick and fast means he got a lot of awards and was recognized by at many places. Bismillah Khan got a lot of recognition and was honored with so many awards. Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to be invited to perform at the prestigious Lincoln Center Hall in the United States of America. He also took part in the World Exposition in Montreal, in the Cannes Art Festival, and in the Oscar Trade Fair. Bismillah Khan ji performed all over the world. He performed in United States of America at the Lincoln Central Hall. He performed in Montreal, Australia in the World Exposition. He performed at the Cannes Art Festival, and he also performed in Japan at the Oscar Trade Fair. So well known did he become internationally that an auditorium in Tehran was named after him, Tahar Mosiki Ustad Bismillah Khan. Tehran is located in Iran, and Bismillah Khan was so famous all over the world that in Tehran an auditorium has been named after him, Tahar Mosiki Ustad Bismillah Khan. National awards like the Padma Shri, the Padma Bhushan, the Padma Vibhushan were conferred on him. Conferred means given, usually an award or a degree. Ustad Bismillah Khan has been awarded with these national awards like Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan. In 2001, Ustad Bismillah Khan was awarded the Bharat Ratna. With the coveted award resting on his chest and his eyes glinting with rare happiness, he said, "All I would like to say is teach your children music. This is Hindustan's richest tradition. Even the West is now coming to learn our music." Coveted means much desired. Now, when Ustad Bismillah Khan received India's highest civilian award, Bharat Ratna, in the year 2011, his eyes were shining. He was very happy because his hard work had been recognized, and he gave an important message to the country. He told all the Indians to teach music to their children because music is the richest tradition of India, of ours. He said that even the Western countries wanted to learn India's music. In spite of having travelled all over the world, Khan Sahib, as he is fondly called, is exceedingly fond of Banaras and Damron, and they remain for him the most wonderful towns of the world. Although Ustad Bismillah Khan ji had travelled all over the world, he was given so much respect and recognition. He remained rooted that he Banaras when he was where he learned music, and Damron, where he was born and brought up, were the two most wonderful towns of the world for him. He was so down to earth that although he had travelled all over the world, still he was attached to his birthplace. A student of his once wanted him to head a Shehnai school in the USA, and the student promised to recreate the atmosphere of Banaras by replicating the temples there. But Khan Sahib asked him if he would be able to transport river Ganga as well. Replicating means making a copy of something. And he says that there was a student of Ustad Bismillah Khan, and he wanted that Ustad Bismillah Khan should set up a Shehnai school in USA, and he promised that he would recreate the temple of Banaras in America for Ustad ji, as he would miss it. Now Ustad Bismillah Khan was attached to river Ganga also, so he asked the student that would he transport river Ganga to America also. So he wanted to say that he could not leave India. He was attached not only to the temples of Banaras but also to the holy river Ganga. Later, he is remembered to have said, "That is why whenever I am in the foreign country, I keep yearning to see Hindustan. While in Mumbai, I think of only Banaras and the holy Ganga, and while in Banaras, I miss the unique matha of Damron." Yearning means longing of having desire of something. Ustad Bismillah Khan said that whenever he visited any foreign country, he longed to see India. He wanted to return to India, and then he says that when he was in India, in Mumbai, he yearned to visit Banaras and the Ganga river, and when he was in Banaras, he missed his birthplace, Damron, and the Matha, where he sang Chaita and was rewarded with the laddu of 1.25 kg weight by the Maharaj. Ustad Bismillah Khan's life is a perfect example of the rich cultural heritage of India. One of the effortlessly accepts that a devout Muslim like him can very naturally play the Shehnai every morning at the Kashi Vishwanath temple. Devout means believing strongly in a religion or obeying its laws and following its practice. Here the writer says that Ustad Bismillah Khan was a perfect example of a rich cultural heritage of India. His work was beyond the religion barriers. Although he was a strict Muslim, he followed the Muslim laws, but every morning he would play the Shehnai at the Kashi Vishwanath temple, which was Hindu temple. This shows that he did not have the barriers of religion in his mind. He was a true Indian. He considered music to be India's richest cultural heritage. Ustad Bismillah Khan passed away on 21st August 2006 at the age of 90 after a prolonged illness. He was given a state funeral, and the government of India declared one day of national mourning. Ustad Bismillah Khan had been ill for a long time, and he died on 21st August 2006 at the age of 90. The entire country mourned the death of the legendary musicians. There was a holiday for one day, and he was given a state funeral. Okay, so here I am concluding this lesson with telling that if you have a passionate thing, if you have passion about something, then please follow this and really be make one instrument, make one instrument part of your life, and you will find that it will really create magic in your life, and it will change your life too. It will give you a great peace, and it's kind, and it feels like a meditation. So please, if you have interest in music, please give a chance the music to be a part of your life, and it will really create a magic and change your world. Bye bye.